All right, joining us in the Panorama Brand Studio today is Vinnie Ronca, the owner and operator of MADabolic in the Heights, a strength-based interval training group fitness gym with an emphasis on hands-on coaching. Vinnie is a fellow Aggie, who majored in marketing and minored in sports management, then went on to get his functional strength coach certification and is now an entrepreneur. We love Vinnie's coaching style, specifically his training knowledge, positive energy, and encouragement for all the clients. And perhaps most important is your education on form in the classes. It's why we fell madly in love with your gym and your training program since it opened in February of 2023. You can catch both Whitney and I sweating it out in Vinnie and Alex's classes as they cheer us on, or go find a MADabolic near you, as there are about 30 locations across the states and more coming soon. Vinnie, we're so excited to have you here today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, y'all. Yeah. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, we wore our MAD shirts to represent.
Two of our founding members in the house.
Yes. Yeah. So how did we become founding members? So I remember, Whitney, when we used to host events on the lawn right in front of the MADabolic gym. And back then you weren't open yet, but the sign was out on the door. And we would always be like, what is that place? Is it open? Is it a gym? What is it?
You couldn't really see inside.
Yeah,
it was just like this
big mystery.
Yeah. It's like black tinted glass, you know? And so we were so curious what it was. And one day I was in Human doing some recovery after a workout, and you walked in with a shirt that said MADabolic. And I was like, that's the name on the glass doors that we work out on the lawn in front of. And I was like, hey, do you go to this place? And you were like, I'm the owner.
Funny enough.
Funny enough. I know all about it. I'm the owner. I was like, no way. I was like, tell me about it. And you guys said you were in the middle of construction and you were going to be opening up in February. So we definitely wanted to come by and check it out. So we came opening week in February for the free family and friends week.
Yep.
And now we've been coming ever since. Little did we know, like you said.
I thought I was just going to slide by with like a couple classes. Nope.
We got hooked.
We love it. We love it. Yeah, 8 months later, here we are. It's pretty crazy.
I know. How long did y'all do construction for?
Yeah, so the whole process, we found that location February 22.
Okay,
2022,
about a year.
Yeah. So, and then just everything takes longer than you think, right? So negotiating the lease, permits, construction. So it's about 12, 13 months in total.
Honestly,
that
that's
whole process.
Pretty impressive timing.
It's not too bad, yeah.
It's really
definitely
not
could
too
be
bad.
worse.
Yeah.
I've heard of longer, but yeah, I was eager to get open, so I was ready.
And for me, I just felt like I manifested the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in all the hard work.
Alexis is really the reason
Right.
why MADabolic is in Houston.
But you remember at the beginning of this year, I loved to learn, and I was getting more into strength training. So I was going down to my apartment gym a lot with my boyfriend, and he would help program some workouts for me, or I would just look on Instagram or YouTube, whatever. But I was curious to learn more, so I had started studying for the CPT, which I had told you about, the personal training certification, because I wanted to just learn more about, you know, the body and form and how to program some workouts. And then you appeared. And I was like, this is everything I'm looking for. I want a strength-based programmed class. You were leading it. You guys are focused on form. And I don't know, you have it structured in a way, which we're going to get into with the different class styles that really help you progress. So it was awesome.
And it's in a way that's a very approachable. Like for me, like I struggled with certain things like my lunges and just like the coaching style and the way you guys can help me like ease into those goals. And now like my lunges have gotten so much better. I'm like, my knee is on that floor.
Yeah, it is.
So I love the way you guys work with people and still you have that one-on-one feel even in the group setting.
Right. No, we appreciate you saying that. I mean, that's our goal, right? It is a group class, group fitness, but we always want clients to feel that one-on-one touch point throughout class. Like you said, form is number one. We want to make sure people are moving well, moving safely. So we're less concerned about entertaining you in class, more concerned about making sure you're moving well and you're getting better, you're getting stronger each time you're in the doors with us.
I love that. And I love that it's approachable, like you said, because it can be really intimidating to go to a gym and try to look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, totally.
Versus coming to your guys' class and you demo every drill before we start, and then you come around to the drills and check on everybody's form. And so for me, it just gives me that confidence that, okay, I saw it, I'm implementing, I'm kind of seeing how it feels in my body, and you're going to come tweak me a little bit if I'm maybe doing something off.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you get, there's usually a couple cycles around the room, right? So you get another chance at it, right? If that first cycle,
True. Mm-hmm.
maybe the form is a little off, you're figuring things out, you get another chance here on cycle 2. And then you're going to see those movements again, in a couple weeks as we move through the program in each cycle.
Amazing. So Vinnie, how long have you been into fitness? What's your background? And did you ever dream up having your own gym?
Yeah, no, great questions. So in terms of fitness, I think I started really becoming passionate about fitness in high school. So actually most of my childhood, I was overweight. And so going into high school, I think I just got to the point where I was just kind of tired of it and just like wanted to change things. And so just really got serious about eating healthy, working out, and that became just a big part of who I was. And so I think it was in that season where I developed that passion for fitness. Don't know if I ever saw myself opening a gym, 10, 15 years later, but here we are.
Did you play sports in high school?
I did, yeah. So I grew up playing sports. I played, football, tennis. I played on the Texas A&M Ultimate Frisbee Club team.
Fun.
Yeah, it is a real sport.
Cool.
It is a real sport. So I kind of played everything at some point growing up. So I always loved being active and playing sports, and then just kind of found that passion for the strength and fitness side of things along the way.
That's so cool.
That's really cool that you worked on yourself. I always love people's stories where you worked on yourself to help yourself, and that inspired your passion, because it's really inherently in you.
Yeah.
To want to help others accomplish the same thing.
Totally, yeah. Because I know what it did for me, how it made me feel, what the opportunities it opened up to me, and yeah, I want that for other people as well.
Amazing.
And from such a young age to, in high school, that's really pretty incredible that you were able to harness that.
Yeah.
Build those habits.
So when was the first time you went to a MAD class?
Yeah, so first time discovering MAD. So I lived in Washington, D.C. for about 4 years.
After A&M?
After A&M. So from Houston, went to A&M. A few years after that, moved up to D.C. And
Big change.
Big change, yeah. Between Spring, Texas and College Station, D.C. was a little different, but awesome town. Loved my time there. And yeah, there's several locations in D.C. And so I had a friend that had gone to MAD and reached out and was like, hey, I think you'll really love this. And so decided to jump in and give it a try. Before that, I'd never really gone to a group fitness class before, so that was all very new to me. I was really just working out on my own for a long time. And I think I just got to the point where just needed a change. I was kind of sick of putting my own routines together, doing it by myself. It was nice to be around other people.
The community aspect, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So went to MAD for the first time and just pretty instantly fell in love with it. Just the structure of it, just from a functional standpoint, my goal of working out was always just to become a better athlete, just functional movements and strength, and MAD provided that. And so really enjoyed my experience there. This was February 2020. Okay. So I was there for about a month, and then the world kind of shut down.
Oh, no.
So I got a taste and then got taken away for a couple months. But then once things kind of opened back up, really hit the ground running and just became a consistent member up there at the DC location.
And how often were you going?
I was hitting my 4 times a week. Yeah,
Nice.
That's what I recommended, right? So
Goals.
get my 4 classes in. Yep. So yeah, I became very consistent up there. Got a bunch of my roommates and friends involved as well. So we had a fun community that was going and working out together.
That's amazing. And it gives you that ability to create community, since you had moved up there, and maybe when you moved up there didn't know that many people.
Yeah, I really didn't.
So.
I think I knew literally one person at that point. So yeah.
It's a great way to put yourself out there and meet people.
Definitely, yeah.
So so you were working up there and you were going, and then when did you move back to Houston?
Yeah.
And why did you move back?
Yeah.
So many questions.
So many questions.
I don't know if I ever asked you that.
Yeah. So I was up there until August 2021. So it ended up being just about 4 years. And honestly, it just got to the point, I think I just missed home, family. There was no real concrete reason bringing me back. I worked remote at the time, so I had that flexibility. And just felt like my season in DC was coming to an end. And so once I kind of made that decision to come back to Houston, started thinking about what might be next. Career-wise, still had I was doing software consulting at the time, so very different career path at that point. and just kind of was looking into what might be next. And someone, a friend of mine was like, you should totally look into opening like a MAD in Houston. I was like, wait, maybe I should. Like, just hadn't like connected those dots yet. Because I'd always wanted to do something of my own, some sort of entrepreneurial aspect, and had that passion for fitness with the brand I loved, and just like seemed like a great combination of those two things.
I love how sometimes it takes like a good friend just to kind of call something into action for you. Like, you have this gift. Like, why don't you? And you're like, wait, why? What? Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Just those little words that may not even, like, for the person saying them, you may not know like the impact they have on that person, but it might open a whole new career path like it did for me.
Are you, before we jump into the next question, I know that owning a business can be very challenging, but do you feel so much happier doing this than sitting behind a computer?
I do. I really do, yeah. As much as like I loved my previous job and the people I was working with, and there are a lot of great things about that job. It's really fun to just have your own thing, have that freedom, that creativity to kind of make it your own. You know, I'm my own boss, which is great. Also means I have to like create my own routines and schedules and hold myself accountable, which is part of the challenging part, but so worth it. So, you know, so many benefits, and just, you know, good experiences that have come from that so far.
I like to ask because I feel like Vinny's normally glowing. Like, I know like we say that about a girl, but you're very vibrant. Like, you're always glowing. You usually seem happy. And so we didn't know you when you were in the software world.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy to see you just happy in what you're doing. And obviously that attracts community to come to your location as well.
Yeah, that means a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. Just the energy that you bring and the encouragement, positivity. So
I appreciate that.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about, I mean, there's obviously a lot of people listening who probably don't know anything about MAD. So we've experienced it, but can you tell people about the training program? What can they expect? Whenever you hear, you know, interval based, sometimes people think HIIT, and they get a little freaked out.
Right.
So just tell us about like what makes it different, what sets it apart.
Yeah, definitely. So MADabolic, we're the leaders in barbell-free strength and conditioning. So it is strength-driven interval training, like you said. That does not equal HIIT, right? So a little different. We prioritize rest a little bit more than a HIIT-based program. When we're asking you to give your 100% on those anaerobic days, right? We want to make sure you have enough of a rest period so that you can truly give your 100% during that next working effort. But yeah, just kind of a summary of what MAD is. So like I said, barbell-free strength and conditioning. There's going to be 5 moves out on the floor every day. One of those 5 moves is always striking. So we're punching the heavy bag.
Love that.
The boxing.
The boxing. So just rotational torque and power.
Here's our boxing glove.
There you go, right there. Ends up being a lot of people's favorite part of class. And then the other 4 moves will always be some combination of dumbbells, kettlebells, med balls. We're always going to prioritize strength in our programming. And then depending on the day, there will be some cardio element or agility element as well. So it's a good mix. It's all total body based movements and functional movement patterns each time.
I don't know if I should be admitting this to y'all, but it literally dawned on me while we were thinking about this interview. I'm like, oh, MAD. It stands for momentum and like I
There
was
it is,
Anaerobic
yep.
and durability. Yeah.
like,
The
how did I miss
branding
that?
is just so
That's
on
okay.
point.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, so what are the 3 class styles?
Yeah. So we have 3 interval types: momentum, anaerobic, and durability. That's where that MAD comes into play. So momentum, on these days, the goal is to make you a better athlete. So we're focusing on athleticism and endurance. It's going to be a gradual build in pace and intensity throughout class. So it helps teach us pace management in that way. And you'll see a lot of like single-sided power-based movements, lateral agility, vertical leaps, things like that on momentum days. Anaerobic is going to be the one time we ask you to go 100% out the gate. Yep, that's the appropriate response
we feel like
to
we always end
anaerobic
up
days.
there on anaerobic days.
Yeah, so these days, short bursts of speed and power. So it might be 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off. But think like heavy squats, deadlifts, all-out sprint kind of feel. And then the last one is durability. These are my favorite days. We're going to slow you down a lot more than you might be used to in other group classes. So focusing more on stability and stamina work. A lot of time under tension on these days, so we're working for a longer period of time. Might be things like farmer's carries, weighted step-ups, bear crawls. That's when we'll typically do the slide board, which ends up being a favorite move. Yeah, a lot of people. It's a unique part of our programming. So they all feel very different, the 3 interval types, but they work really well together in that overall training program.
I think my favorite deep down has always been momentum, because it's sort of the middle one ish. Like it's not 100%, but it's not too slow. It's just right, you know, like just right.
Like, I like how you guys always say with the momentum, respect the build.
Right.
And like I had to learn that the hard way, because I remember one of my first momentums, I was like going all out, and then we got to round 2, and I was like, oh no, there's no gas.
Oh yeah, it's a learning experience. Yeah, because I think, you know, most of the industry, they're asking you to go 100% all the time. So when you ask someone to slow it down, give your 70%, that's a foreign concept to a lot of people in the fitness industry. But it's so important to train your body at different paces, different intensities, because if you go 100% all the time, you're gonna burn out. And like I said, it's teaching us pace management, so we can tap into those. Like, you have a half marathon coming up, right? You're not going to run 100% the whole time. No. You need to be able to pick it up, turn it off, right? Exactly. So those days are really helpful for things like that.
And y'all do a good job of pushing us, but not drill sergeanting us, if that makes sense. Like, so Alex is always like, Alexis, I know you can do lane 2. Right. You got this. I believe in you. I've seen you work. And so she'll push me. Again, if I'm having like if I'm worn out, like I'll maybe go back to lane 1. It just kind of depends. I'll feel it out, because you guys kind of let us walk around and test some of the weights that day.
Right.
So that's good.
So for people listening, what are the lanes?
Yeah. So there's 5 lanes at each movement, just based on weight class. So we've got 5 different plate colors. White plates always has the lightest weights on the floor, and then building up to that black plate has the heaviest weights. So the client gets to pick where they move each day. So like Alexis was saying, sometimes maybe it's a teal day, sometimes maybe it's a white day, depending on the movements, depending on where you're at physically, right? Maybe you just got back from a long vacation and you're not feeling like teal that day.
So true.
That's okay. But yeah, you get to pick where you're moving that day, what weights, and that's where it helps make it scalable. So like, we have people in there that are former Division I college athletes training next to someone that maybe it's their second day in the gym, but they're both able to go through the same workout, get the same results, and the same great workout that day, because it's scalable. We're working for a set period of time rather than chasing reps. So if we're working for 40 seconds, we're just asking you to do what you can with good form in that 40 seconds that day.
What's your favorite interval class? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, so I think durabilities are definitely my favorite
really?
days. Yeah, I started out momentum was my favorite when I started. I think momentum feels the most similar to maybe what people have done elsewhere. I think as you come to the program more, you grow to appreciate durability days, especially after like an anaerobic day. You're like, I just need to slow it down a little bit, grind through this one. And it's as much of like a mental grind as it is a physical one on those days, because you might be holding that weight for 2.5 minutes.
That's true. When you make me hold those medicine balls, I want to kill you.
Nice.
You're like, just squeeze it.
The searcher,
I'm gonna die.
I find the durability days really challenging, just because it is like to move slowly and really like think about it. Like
maintain that form for that entire work period.
I would even vote anaerobic over durability for me right now. Again, we go through phases.
Right.
But what I do like about the anaerobic is kind of they're the shorter cycles, and so they're quick. So it's almost an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you've been through everything 3 times, let's say, in 15 seconds of each session, and it's over. You're like, wow,
like
time flew by. But I mean, it was hard, and we were all looking at each other like, this one was really hard, or like, good luck with this. Or if you've got arms and 2 back to back, I'm like,
Yep. Yeah.
But I like the adrenaline rush.
Totally. And everyone can kind of relate to an anaerobic day. Once you've experienced it and know what it is, you're like, oh, it's anaerobic. I get it. Yeah.
There's some camaraderie there.
Yeah, absolutely. We all suffer together. Yeah.
What would you say then to somebody who's like maybe interested in trying Mad out, but they're newer to fitness and they're maybe a little intimidated about, a group fitness class or strength training? Like, how would you maybe encourage that person?
Yeah, definitely. So first, I mean, that's totally understandable. It's an intimidating thing. Like, absolutely, it can be. I would say, one, just taking that first step is huge, right? Just start. There's never going to be a perfect time to get started. You don't have to get in shape to go to the gym first, right? Everyone
That's
starts.
A good point.
Yeah, everyone starts somewhere. Like I was saying, it's scalable, right? So you pick the weights you're moving at. And I'd also say that you're probably a lot stronger than you think. So I think, the industry in general has maybe scared some people off from strength for a variety of reasons. And people think they shouldn't be lifting more than 10 pounds. But then think about all you lift throughout the day. Your bag, your groceries, if you have children, all those things are far heavier than those 3-5 pound weights in the corner of your room, right? So give yourself more credit. You're a lot stronger than you think, and I think you'll surprise yourself when you do get under some weight and start doing some strength training.
Especially with y'all's clear direction. There are a lot of misconceptions about strength training causing bulk.
Right.
Can you talk about the benefits of strength training and maybe bust that myth?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that bulky word that's been stigmatized in the industry. So I think people are afraid that if they lift weights, they're gonna get bulky. And I think all these people are generally looking for that like lean, athletic, toned look, right? And all that is putting muscle on your frame. And the more muscle you have on your frame, the more calories, the more fat you're going to be burning. And that's where you're going to get those body recomposition changes that you're seeking. And so it's not going to come from endless cardio as much as you might want it to, right? It's coming from adding muscle to your frame. And to get bulky, quote unquote bulky, you would have to eat in such a caloric surplus. You'd really have to like go above and beyond to get that. Yeah. So
like
if you're
the bodybuilders are doing.
Right. That is such an effort. That's someone that is their career. They're looking to like add all this mass. So if you're coming to a strength training program 4 times a week, right, you're not going to get that bulk that you might be afraid of. You're going to get that lean athletic look that you want.
And by the way, for my cardio people, I know I'm a cardio girl too. I do love to run. I will say that the strength training has changed my running.
Yeah.
Like it has made me feel so much stronger. And I think that it's also like I used to get aches and pains, in my knees, and I don't really feel that when I run anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think a lot of the running community is moving that way. They're realizing the benefits of cross training and adding a strength element to their training. Because like you said, it's going to make you more stable, more just reduce injuries, right? That's what those durability days are great for as well. Endurance athletes tend to love those days. So yeah, and it's going to help your split times overall also.
I love how Michael Bostic on the Skinny Confidential podcast always says anytime they interview a fitness coach, he's like, you're not going to get bulky from lifting weights overnight, because he says guys have to try, like they're doing weightlifting their whole life to try to get bulky, because guys like want to get the muscle and like the broad shoulders or whatever. He's like, we have to try so hard to get muscle,
absolutely,
to build it, to keep it, to sustain it. And so he always says, trust me, it takes years.
Yeah, you'll be okay.
Also, I want to add, I know the recommendation is 4 times a week, which is ideal.
Right.
But if you have people like, I know like Alexis and I like to do all the things. And I know there's other people that love, Pilates, yoga, whatever. But if they want to add the strength training, is it still going to benefit them if they come, 2 to 3 times and then they're doing, a couple other days of whatever else they like to do?
Yeah, in general, like what's the recommended amount and which class types, and then kind of what's maybe a down level and an up level?
Yeah. So our recommended is 4 times a week, like you said, Whitney. So ideally you're in our doors 4 times each week. You're getting 1 of each interval type. And then whatever the theme is for that week, if it's an anaerobic themed week, you'll get 2 anaerobics that week.
Okay.
So like this week could be 2 anaerobics, 1 momentum, 1 durability. And then outside that, we recommend 1 to 2 active recovery days. So that might be Pilates, yoga, go for a run, and then 1 to 2 full rest days. So we're big proponents of rest and recovery. Your body builds muscle when it's at rest. So if you never give it a chance to rest and recover, you're not going to see the results you're wanting. And you get to a point where you're overtraining, or you're actually hindering your own results for a variety of reasons. So big proponents of rest and recovery. For people that are big yogis, big runners, even adding 2 to 3 days of strength a week will be a huge benefit to that. So yeah, we definitely, if that's your thing, if you're training for a marathon, you can only give up 2 days for MAD. Absolutely, it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I still feel great even if I just come 2 times a week. My goal is usually 3. 4 is tough for me, just between work and
3 is that
events
sweet
of
spot.
ourselves. Yeah, 3 is our sweet spot for sure, and we definitely try to keep each other accountable, which is great. So it's great to take friends.
Totally.
And I know y'all have it's also, what's the deal right now? The 5 for 5?
Yeah, so 5 days for $5 for new clients.
That's amazing.
Yeah, come check it out. You get to try out all 3 interval types. Come as much as you want in those 5 consecutive days, and you get a real feel for the programming.
And then you'll be a member before you know it.
Before you know it, you'll be sitting here with us on the podcast.
Oops. So back to a couple of benefits. I also think I don't think. But another benefit of strength training is just longevity of bone health. And so it's really good as you age and get older and more fragile to have like the muscle supporting the bone.
Yeah.
And just to avoid, like, I don't know. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. No, I think especially as we get over 30, you lose a certain percentage of your bone density and muscle mass each year. And so strength training is the way to combat that. And it's never too late to start either. So people can start lifting weights in their 50s and still see huge benefits from that. So it is just setting yourself up for success as you age, making sure you do have strong bones, that muscle mass, which only promotes health and all other aspects of your life as well.
And I feel like we started to feel that way because we're all like 30-ish.
Yeah, sure.
30 plus.
Sure-ish.
But
so
I'm glad you
craving
said
it.
that because, yeah, my 30-ish is probably a little older than y'all's 30-ish. But I mean, after I hit 35, I started feeling it, like just some more achiness, a little more stiffness. So like the strength training is really helping me, you know, bring that muscle mass back and just maintain.
Yeah,
So.
love to hear that.
What other services do you guys have? Because we've talked a lot about the fitness. You guys have some maybe nutrition services?
Yeah. So, I mean, we do offer a nutrition blueprint to all of our members as well. So it's going to be a macro-based nutrition guide. So and it's designed around someone that's training at MADabolic. So we've got 3 different kind of phases. If you're in a fat loss phase, if you're in a muscle gain phase, or just maintenance. So it gives you targets based on male, female, and how much you weigh, what those macros should look like. And I'll say generally, I think people tend to be eating far less than they should. I know when I first started looking into it, just for my maintenance, I was under eating by about like 800 calories.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So I started eating the maintenance, which is about 3,000 calories for me. Started eating that every day. So increased what I was eating. And then my body shed like 4 or 5 pounds. It's just like, it's so counterintuitive. But when you put your body, take it out of the starvation mode and put it in just its maintenance phase, right? It gets in that just a safe place. It'll start letting go of some of those fat reserves that's been holding on to and just puts it in homeostasis. Yeah,
We need to figure out what our maintenance is.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I need to look at that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense like intuitively, but if you give your body what it needs and make it feel safe, it's gonna let go of a lot of those things it's been holding on to, and you'll probably see some really good results, and you'll feel a lot better in the gym as well.
I don't specifically count calories, but I feel like I probably hit 2,000 to 2,500, which maybe feels like my maintenance, and that's why like I crave that amount throughout the day. I don't know how to describe that, right? But you're like, I'm kind of hungry, or I'm not, right? If you're just in tune. So that's probably maybe what mine is, but I would be curious if I worked with one of y'all just to see.
It's worth, it's worth tracking even just for like a couple weeks just to see where am I at? Like, am I way under eating? Am I way overeating? Maybe you're right on where you need to be. It's just really informative, just to see where you are with that and understand what changes you might need to make. And I would say the biggest thing is protein intake.
I was about to ask, like, what's your recommended protein intake?
Yeah, so generally you want to be right around like a gram per pound of body weight. So, which
maintenance or like for maintenance-y purposes?
Yeah, for like maintenance purposes. Okay. So, which is probably a lot more than most people are getting in. And it really is like an effort, right?
That's what I strive for.
It is an effort. I've been really trying to up my protein, and I'm like really having to think about it sometimes.
Yeah, you got to plan it out. You got to really make an effort with each meal. Like make sure you have a protein source every meal, every snack, some supplements throughout the day to reach those goals. But that's primary. Like protein, if you hit your protein, you hit your calorie goal. The carbs and fats can kind of be flexible.
By the way, that one, the protein powder, what was the flavor?
Churro?
It did taste like a churro.
Right?
I was like,
I haven't tried
really good.
Shout out SFH. Yep, SFH churro. Kind of tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch a little bit. Yeah.
I love cinnamon.
So good.
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised by that one.
Yeah. It's
I'll
a good one.
Taste the one at your house sometime.
I got a sample.
Oh, you just got a sample? You did the sachet? Okay.
But now I kind of want to go get some.
20% off this month.
Woo-woo.
There you go.
Okay. As I've gotten more into strength training, I've also focused more on hitting my protein goals, which we talked about a lot in this episode. I typically aim for the same grams of protein as pounds of body weight. So 2 ways that I sneak in more protein is making smoothies or shakes with the Sakara Life protein and greens powder, which we've got here in the studio, and carrying a Sakara Life metabolism boosting protein powder with me when I'm on the go. Sakara's products are certified organic, plant-focused, and gluten-free. We've talked about the protein bars before on this podcast, so today I want to highlight the protein powder. I love that it's a combination of greens and protein because it not only supports that lean muscle and curbs craving with the protein, but it also gives you a dose of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and supports detoxifications with the greens. So you can get 17 grams of protein per serving. It's organic pea protein, hemp, pumpkin, and then greens like organic spirulina and chlorella. So the move is head to sakara.com and stock up on the protein and greens powder and metabolism protein bars so you can easily hit your macros on the go. Use code XOAlexisM at sakara.com for 20% off your entire first order. That's XOAlexisM for 20% off at sakara.com. So what's your fave thing about coaching, Vinnie?
Yeah, I think just getting to see clients progress. You know,
Aww.
People come in and they have their goals, and we just want to help people reach their goals, right? And so it can be as simple as someone has never done a strict push-up before, and then a few months into the program, they're cranking out strict push-ups, and just like seeing how proud they are and like accomplished they feel from doing that.
I'm still working for those push-ups.
They're coming. They're coming. And just just little things like that. You know, it's a movement that a client struggles with initially, but you see them progress over time, or just you find that one cue that makes it click for them. And like I said, just seeing people's confidence grow as they keep coming back, they keep getting stronger, getting better at the movements. It's just really rewarding for us as coaches.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. I think my favorite movement might be the boxing.
Yeah.
Just because it's so different. I
It's
don't want
fun.
full boxing class, but the little
Right.
touch of it gives you that full body, core.
Mm-hmm.
I also like, I like anything with legs. I like the slide board. What are your
Slide board's fun.
favorites?
The slide board is hard for me, but honestly, I used to hate, when I first started, I hated squats and lunges. I still don't love them. However, I feel like my squats and lunges have so drastically improved that I'm now
Absolutely.
starting to like kind of like them.
There you
because
go.
I'm like, I think it's just because the struggle and you enduring that struggle, and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm really improving here, like you said.
You have so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's so fun to see. Yeah.
It's
And
awesome.
y'all really have such a good variety. The rowing, you love rowing. They have
Love
the
the
rowing
rowing.
machine or the bike.
If you like to sprint, they got some
We
sprinting.
got sprints for you.
From
Oh,
Cone
the
Cone,
hardest
little
one though
soccer,
for me
like
is the,
oh.
you know, what is that one? The
the skier.
Oh, the skier.
Oh, the skier.
It's a
That
love-hate
is
thing. It's a
hard.
That
love-hate
one is
thing.
really hard. That one confuses me.
Yeah, that one's
That or I just feel it and I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna get doing this.
that one's brutal at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. New to a lot of people coming in.
There's a
It's
little soccer drill one where you like go in and out of the
ladder drills.
ladders.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun. I
That
like
reminds
that
me of
one.
when I played soccer growing up.
Yeah, there you go.
The
Making people
medicine
better
ball.
athletes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like throw some out there so people get a vibe for the kind of drills. Because again, it's barbell free, so it's none of this type.
Right.
It's either the handheld or the kettlebell, or
Yep.
the ball, or a drill, or boxing.
Yeah, and I'll say for those out there that use barbell-based movements, and we're still accomplishing those same movement patterns. We're doing cleans, we're doing snatches. We're just doing it with safer modalities, with the dumbbells and kettlebells.
You also have the rings. I like the rings and doing like the kind of the pseudo pull-ups with the rings or the side.
Yeah,
pulls.
ring rows, ring
Ring row-
push-ups.
Yeah.
So it's a good variety. We try to keep it simple, but with just enough variety in there.
Never a dull moment.
Never
No.
a dull moment. You won't
You're
be
always
bored.
on your toes.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about your favorite thing. What are some of the struggles you've had? Because I think it's important to talk about that when other people are seeking to become business owners. Maybe what are some of the struggles you faced and advice for staying strong and overcoming them? Staying strong.
Staying strong. Yeah. So kind of touched on this earlier. I think when I was ready to get started, I was, so eager. I was like, we'll be open in 6 months. Let's get this thing going. And just realizing like everything takes longer than you think it will. And so just like having patience with that was hard when I was like very mentally ready to enter this next season of life. But instead of, 5 or 6 months, it took 12 or 13. But but it all works out, right? It worked out in the timing it was supposed to, and I'm grateful for that. And then I think, just coming from a corporate job, like totally different style of work, of living, being an entrepreneur, obviously very different hours, especially with the gym, right? We're there at 4:45 in the morning. Oof. We're there until like 8 or 8:30 at night. So just like very different schedule. And that's, can be hard on just like your personal life, like your social life, relationship. So just adjustments you have to make in that. Thankfully, Ashlyn, my fiance, has been very understanding with all that. Yeah.
Shout out. We were gonna get to that. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I'm engaged. Yep. And like 29 days out from the wedding. So
awesome.
We were really surprised you agreed to come on. I was like, Ashley, are you sure it's okay? Does he need to be helping you plan something?
How are you balancing that, like with planning a wedding, being engaged, and then running a gym, all the things?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I'll say Ashlyn is doing most of the planning, so she gets most of the credit there. I am definitely involved though. Like I'm involved in all those decisions and meetings and stuff. But so it is a lot. You just like I said, the schedule is weird, right? So early mornings, late nights. So we just have to be proactive and like scheduling middle of the day sessions.
Which actually might be better because that might be when businesses are open that you need to talk to.
Yeah, so that works out for us. She has her own business as well, so we have that flexibility. So that helps, but it is just being...
And she's a wedding photographer.
She's a wedding photographer, yep.
But she probably can't photography her own wedding. No, so she's going to have one of her besties.
Not taking selfies, yeah. So she knew some vendors, so we got some great vendors set up for the wedding. And
maybe she can photograph one of our weddings one day. Yes.
And shout out, I love that she's in the gym training too.
Yes.
So cool.
Member number one.
Yes.
Supportive from the start.
VIP.
Yep, absolutely.
And per your struggle, I think everything does happen in its right timing because you guys opened in February, which had you opened 6 months earlier in the summer, it would have been fun. But a lot of people start their New Year's with some fitness goals or health goals. And so kind of right there in February, maybe people are starting to struggle with some self-motivation that they started the year strong with. And so having a place that they could come, we got to check out and be rejuvenated and inspired and motivated. So I think it was perfect timing in that sense for New Year's goals.
Definitely agree. And like having just gone through our first summer of being open, people travel all the time during the summer. Yes. It's very people are in and out of town. So I think you're right. Summer would have been a much tougher time to open.
We have that same issue with events sometimes when people's travel spikes. It's like, I can't make it, I'm traveling. And it seems like everybody's traveling.
Right. Am I the only one not traveling?
I know, why am I here? Did I miss a holiday that was this weekend or something? I'm confused. But yeah, and speaking of events, we've actually gotten to do a collaboration with you. We did a half strength, half yoga. So you got to take a half MAD class, and then we stretched you out at the end. And at the very end, we had Human come and do ice baths.
That was so fun.
That was a great day.
On our first ever podcast, we talked about how that was one of our favorite events because it was just something super different than what we normally do, and we loved it.
Yeah,
and everyone was so hyped and cheering each other on, and it was cool.
It was a good time.
You really get a confidence endorphin high from a strength workout. I don't know how to describe that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I know.
Okay, so everybody needs to come and figure out what we're talking about. But you get a nice confidence endorphin high. Everything just kind of feels tighter. And then, of course, the ice bath just sealed that in with that adrenaline rush. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest thing for me.
That was fun. Yeah. You and Bill together, you.
Yeah. I think he did 5 minutes.
Oh, my God.
I don't know.
I should have stayed in longer.
He's built different.
We'll have to have him on. Yeah. So to wrap up on the business topic, what are your goals for the business going forward?
Yeah, so location one, we've been open about 8 months now, which is crazy to think about.
Wow.
Yay.
So just continuing to build that member base, right? Continuing to make it a great experience for our current members and just build that community. That's a big aspect of what we desire to do as well as, yes, the gym, yes, strength training, the fitness side of things, but also create a community for people to come, make connections, feel seen, heard, known. And so really focusing on that as well. And then looking ahead, so we're opening 2 more locations in Houston. Yep. So next couple years, you'll see 2 more MADs here in the Houston area. So be on the lookout for that. So
are you allowed to tell us where?
So we don't know where yet.
Okay.
But it will be right here in this inside the loop area. So hopefully here in the next year, location number 2 will be up and running.
You're going to need some more trainers for that.
We'll need some more trainers for
come
sure.
Check them out. Make friends with Vinnie because he may need to hire you.
Yeah, come check it out. Do the program first. This first step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're so excited. Yep. And can our membership like work at multiple then?
Yeah, so that's the goal. So if you're a member with us, you should be able to drop in.
Yeah,
all the locations across Houston.
That would be fun.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
thank
congrats.
you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So we'll stay tuned for that. So to kind of close out, we like to talk to you about your wellness routine. So what does your wellness routine look like? What are maybe some non-negotiables? Especially because you have to be up early and maybe
what do you like? I need to know all this.
What's your morning routine like at 4 a.m.?
Yeah, great question. So I mean, first and foremost, I'm hitting my 4 times a week at MAD. So even as owner, trainer, like we require trainers to train 4 times a week to do the program to be bought in. So I make sure that happens every week. Sleep is huge, has become a big priority.
100%.
Yep. Especially as, that wake up time got earlier and earlier. But yeah, just, if you don't get a good night's sleep, how just it affects the rest of
you feel terrible.
your day, week. Yeah. So really prioritizing that.
Do you have to go to bed at like 8 p.m. or?
Sometimes, yeah. I want to. Yeah, honestly, those nights where I get home from the gym around 8:30, it's like, okay, eat dinner, get in bed around 9:30 and we'll wake up at 4-ish. So, but you kind of get into that routine and then, human is part of the routine as well. So, dropping in there for compression or LED therapy, PMF, some cryo. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I've gotten more and more into sauna and cold plunge recently as well. Definitely prefer the sauna over the cold plunge. Not a big fan of the cold, but I know it's good for you and I feel great afterwards. So it's always worth it. So yeah, just trying to incorporate those on a weekly basis. So I think that kind of encapsulates the main things I focus on for wellness on my side of things.
I love it.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Any tips on eating? What kind of eating style do you have?
Yeah, so I, again, prioritize protein primarily.
How many times a day do you eat? I'm curious.
So with that schedule, it's a little weird as well, right? With my early mornings and late nights, but I'll typically come home from the gym, have a pretty big breakfast. So get a big meal to start the day. And then I usually eat kind of like a late lunch before heading back to the gym for the evening classes. And then something when I get home as well. So I guess about 3 times. Do
you incorporate any protein shakes?
I will. Yeah. So especially if I'm training. Yep. We'll get that churro in there. Definitely get the churro. The Fairlife Core Power little protein drinks are a great hack for macros. Quick 30 grams right there. Definitely got to supplement if you're trying to hit those goals.
So do you fast in the morning then? When you come to the gym in the morning?
Typically, yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I could do 2 classes.
Yeah.
I feel like I would need a protein shake somewhere in there. That's why I was wondering if you have one maybe in between the 2.
Sometimes, yes. I usually bring one with me. It's depending. If I'm coaching, if I have a chance to fit it in, I will. If I'm working out that morning, I might try to have a little snack beforehand just to get something in my system. Yeah. But yeah, typically just kind of waiting until after the morning classes to start eating.
And then you mentioned supplements. Can you shout out a few of your top ones?
Yeah, so SFH Churro is the one I use for protein. They've also got called Strong. It's a creatine supplement. Okay. So definitely recommend. Creatine is so helpful. So many benefits from cognitive, even for girls. Okay. Yeah. So I know again that
it's one of the top, research supplements.
Exactly. It's been researched. So many studies on it. So many benefits. There is, I think, a stigma around it still, right? Probably going along with that bulky word as well, but that's not the case. It just helps your body repair muscles, build muscle. You're gonna feel the benefit of that. And then fish oil is a big one. So I do SFH fish oil. It's very potent, and just from reducing soreness, skin, inflammation, all those things. So those are probably the top ones. And then magnesium before bed has really helped me. Yeah, sleep as well.
Oh, the magnesium
makes a big difference. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Vinnie. To end out, what does wellness mean to you?
Yeah, I think wellness for me, I think just means doing whatever it is in your life that puts you in a healthy place, right? If that's strength training, if that's running, if that's even outside of fitness, right? Like if that's just community, faith, whatever it looks like for you.
True.
Putting yourself in a healthy place so you're filled, right? So you can pour out into others. And I think that's really what wellness looks like.
I love that.
That's beautiful. Well, where can everybody find you in MADabolic?
Yeah, so Instagram, the gym's page is mad_the heights.
Yep.
So check us out there.
We tag them all the time.
We appreciate it. Y'all are our biggest supporters. We love it. And then personal, at Vincent Ronca on Instagram is where you can find me.
And the website is?
Website, MADabolic.com.
And you can go snag that 5
Go
for 5.
snag that 5 for 5, 5 days, $5.
Also, if you message mad_the heights on Instagram, they will offer you a free trial if you let them know Wellness for Hugh sent you. So the free 5 for 5, so you can come for 5 days and try all the classes. So definitely check that out. Let them know Wellness for Hugh sent you. And
Come
then
work out with
download
us.
the
come
app
check
too,
it out.
because the app's really easy to book classes.
There you go.
I love
Brand
the new
app.
app, by the way.
A lot
Yes.
of improvements, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Vinnie. We're so blessed that you opened in Houston, and we'll see you in the gym this week.
Yeah, thanks for
Maybe
having
tonight.
me, y'all. We'll see y'all in a few hours.
Yeah, see you in a few
Thanks, Vinnie.
hours.
Thanks, y'all.